Everyone has a bright light inside of them that deserves to be seen by the world. That's why it's time to shine the light on the extraordinary who are accomplishing phenomenal things. This is the Shine Out Loud Show with Lillian Ogbogo.
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever in the world you are, and welcome to another episode of the Shine Out Loud Show with me, Lillian Ogbogo. Oh, I am always excited to have my amazing guests on the show, but right now I am truly honored that I get this very multifaceted, powerful woman on the show. This woman is at the forefront of the wellness industry and championing for change in wellness within the Black community. I am talking about the founder and creator of Noire Wellness. You know her as Candice Bryan, and join me and welcome this fabulous woman to the show. Hi, Candice.
Hey, Lillian. Thank you so much for welcoming me onto your platform.
You are welcome. You're welcome. I am so happy to have you on the show tonight.
Thank you so much, Lillian.
You're welcome. So let's jump right in. Now, you wear many hats in the wellness industry. Can you tell me what is a wellness inclusion strategist?
So, in fact, I came up with that title earlier on this year because it seemed to just shed light on the work that I do, which is basically trying to impact, empower, and transform the lives of the African and Caribbean health and wellness community. And when we look at the wellness industry per se, we know that there's mainly one voice. So my work encompasses trying to include specific groups of society in that wellness conversation and space.
Okay. All right. So, you know, we look at your industry, your company, and it's called Noire Wellness. Why Noire Wellness, and where did the concept for you starting that business come from?
Wow, that's a really good question. Do you know, I would say it started back in 2004, actually, which was when I completed my first degree in leisure management.
Okay.
And the project for that was entitled Understanding the Black British Leisure Experience, Cultural Identity, Choice and Constraints. And it really was there where it dawned on me that our experiences as Black people living in Britain, especially, were very much different from mainstream experiences. So in terms of accessibility, in terms of variety and everything that was on offer. And the findings from that research has just always sat with me.
Okay.
Fast forward, family, business, working within the industry, moving from fitness instructor to community sports development officer, and then working on an inclusive fitness project, Noire Wellness was born. I just thought my passion, my whole journey seemed to be following this same path. So I thought, there's no better time than a couple of years ago to actually birth Noire Wellness. So I think that's where it came from.
All right. Well, that actually sounds like a fantastic reason to start anything. And I think we definitely need more conversations around the Black wellness experience. Now, and let's jump right into that, because let's go with this. In your opinion, why does it still feel that there's some Black women who feel that well-being practices such as yoga and the like, such as taking time out for oneself, is indulgent and something for others? Why do you think that belief is still entrenched?
That's a brilliant question. You were getting straight into this. I love it. I think that the media has a lot to do with that whole idea. When we do a Google search, or when we're watching TV, when we're listening to the radio, it seems that wellness and self-care are practices just for indulgence.
Right.
And whilst there are a group of Black women who are arguably always indulging in these practices, let's not forget them. The ones that actually perhaps may need it for health reasons don't really see themselves reflected in that space. So I believe one of the major things is representation, especially within the media, and that's across all forms, as I said, from television to radio to TV. But I also feel that culturally we've not really had let's say, a healthy dialogue with westernized medical model, if you like. So because of the lack of trust with, the people who we should go to for health conditions, health diseases, whatever it might be, when there is actually, an opportunity for us to go and indulge, we're still not quite, what spa am I going to go to? Is that person going to look like me? And therefore, is my experience going to be a good and true, a good and beautiful experience, we could
Right.
say.
Okay, so we're talking about those well-being practices, and in essence, we're talking about self-care. And you did an interview piece for Self-Care Sunday interview series with Leanne Lindsay, and you talk about various self-care practices. You make a point about self-care being particularly important for women, and we've pointed out some women are not doing it. Why is it important for women?
Do you know what? I just believe that we play so many different roles. First and foremost, as women, being women in the world, we know that, we are struggling against various different, things, natural things that we're struggling against. But as mothers, as professionals, as students, whatever role it is, you seem to be the epicenter of the family.
Right.
And as the epicenter of the family, you've just got to make sure that you are cared for so that you can then care for your family, your colleagues, and so forth. Because I feel like if we're not right, then everything around us falls down.
You know what? I am a firm believer in that. One of my favorite saying is, if mama ain't happy, ain't nobody happy.
Absolutely.
And it's true, because if a woman is not happy, it leaks out and it has a greater impact. And we need more happy women in the world.
Definitely. And I'm sure my family would be able to put their hand up and say, absolutely, because when I'm not happy in this household, ain't nothing good. Ain't nothing good about the atmosphere in here. And so, yeah, most definitely, it's more important, I believe, for us to look after ourselves than any other people in our family. Most definitely.
Awesome. Okay, so, we are looking at this concept of wellness, and you are the front line of wellness, raising awareness about the raising rates of illnesses going about, such as diabetes, childhood obesity, and mental health issues. How badly is it impacting the Black community? How is it affecting us?
We constantly are seeing statistics that are being shared across news forms, across academia. We're 3 times more likely than any other group to develop type 2 diabetes, as you say. We've got childhood obesity. And for me, it's about the structural inequalities. So it's more about the social determinants of health. So when we look across the board, we look at things like housing, education, employment. There are so many odds that are stacked against us that are having a detrimental impact on our health.
So what is the solution? What do we need to start putting in place to actually help people get around these things? How can we have the conversations to help individuals understand that when we talk about mental health issues, we're not talking about mental illness, but mental health issues are more encompassing of that. How do you have that conversation in the Black community so that it's heard?
Great question. I think it's already happening. I think we are starting to see a surge of health, culturally related and culturally specific health events that are taking place. And so it's not only just maybe a poetry night or a music event, it's now encompassing health talk. So I think most definitely health education is going to be where we're going to start. Obviously, you have, national interventions such as I would draw reference to the prostate screening, prostate cancer screenings that are taking place, and what we're seeing sort of in and around on the billboards, especially in London, we're seeing images of Black men. So there is a screening process that's happening. So I would definitely say education, but more importantly, education that is coming from the Black community. It most definitely has to be representative of ourselves.
Okay, so and that's actually important. We have to be on that front line having those conversations.
Absolutely.
Okay. And we are in this era of social media where everybody is talking about, well-being, self-love, and there is, I think for me, 2018 has been sponsored by the well-being conversation. Seriously.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You can't open Instagram without somebody going body positivity or something. How can women create well-being practices that truly serves them and not literally drive them around the twist?
I mean, can I be honest here? Because
yes, please.
I do have a slight issue at the moment. Now, my sisters that are surrounding me have told me, Candice, you've got to get on Instagram. You've got to get on Instagram. I absolutely get it. But I do feel that there's an element that it's a bit of a catch-22. I feel that wellness, as great as it is, some of it is becoming really unhealthy. So I wouldn't say that social media would be the first point for somebody who is just starting their wellness journey. I would say speak to each other. One thing we don't do as a community, we don't connect and speak to each other enough, especially when it comes culturally, especially when it comes to health conditions. We're told, don't chat your business, or, keep it to yourself. Or you've got to be seen as this strong Black woman. Mm-hmm. But I would say the conversations on social media, as opposed to the conversations that you're having in person, are totally different. Totally different. So I would say have a conversation with your sisters, with your close sisters, or even with your close brothers. And I would go one further to say that there are some spaces that we have that we may not be utilizing as best as we could. And straight away, I'm thinking about our hairdressers. I'm thinking about our barbershops. Those spaces to me are the primary epicenters, the primary and valuable spaces where we could be having these conversations, whether it be about breast cancer, whether it be about fibroids, prostate cancer. It's such a safe space that we could be utilizing a lot more than we are at the moment. So I would say, don't even go to social media first. I would say have conversations in person, most definitely.
I have to agree with you. I mean, I love social media. I've connected with some of my incredible guests via social media. So on the one hand, I have a great love and respect for social media. On the other hand, I'm like, there's some days you turn up to social media, as I will say, and you are looking and you're thinking, okay, so this person can handstand, that person can, I'm not sure my body can bend that way, so clearly there's something wrong with my body. And, there's a lot out there. So I think you're right. We need to kind of take it back old school and have conversations within our inner circles.
Most definitely. And when we're seeing these handstands and everything, you just got to be thinking, how long does she hold that handstand for? Let's be real, because you can fabricate as much as you want, really. Let's be honest. On social media, it is a different world. You can you can create, and it's brilliant for creatives. And I'm not tarnishing everybody. I'm not even tarnishing anyone. I'm just saying
we're
personally, not. Absolutely. From my opinion, it's you can create whatever story you wish. So I think where health and wellness is concerned, it's most definitely, let's have a face-to-face conversation in our safe spaces.
Okay. All right. So, and speaking of, yoga, you mentioned in your interview with Leanne something about African yoga journeys.
Ooh.
What are they?
Okay, so African yoga, I must shout out to the African yoga instructors in London. They're doing some amazing, amazing work. And my first experience was, I think, in 2016. And I just haven't looked back. Like, African yoga, if you haven't tried it, listen, I got the hookup. Yeah, you have to try. Everybody has to try African yoga. And you will see the difference. So the journeys that I refer to are, the journey that I do is the journey of Ra. So it's basically taking you back to a traditional aspects of yoga and of the self as well. Okay. So it's when you're doing African yoga, you are connecting with Ra, you're connecting with the source. You're also, it's also more about your spiritual alignment. Mm-hmm. You can also do it to soothing sounds and music, drums and so forth. It's just more of an experience than an actual activity. That's probably the best way for me to explain it or describe it. It's so
Okay.
much more. It's such a light and enlightening experience, most definitely. So I try and do that every morning.
All right. That sounds really interesting. And we'll probably at the end of the show hit you up for the hookup.
Okay. With pleasure.
All right. So, how does stillness affect or slow deliberate movements help the body?
I would say, especially in today's society, we so need to be still. This is something I haven't mastered, even in terms of, let's say, meditation. I first started doing my African yoga journeys in the morning and then meditating and trying to be still and clearing my mind. But I found that when I was meditating in the way that we've naturally been taught to, I was just thinking of all these things were coming in my head. I was thinking about what I'm going to do. I was planning my day.
Yep.
And I quickly realized that actually my form of meditation is maybe slightly different to most people, in that when I'm cleaning my home or I'm cleaning inside the car, not very often do the car, but when I'm cleaning, I feel like I'm in a meditation. I'm in this space. I'm just really, really free. So for me, being still is actually finding something that allows your mind to be free of all of these distractions that the world, is bringing to us.
Okay. I like the sound of that. And yeah, I like the sound because for me, when sometimes I can't meditate during the day, I will have to do like a sleep meditation because that's the only way I can do those traditional style of meditations. But I can walk and meditate, and yeah, and I can do dance meditation where I move my body, but just the regular sit down and cross leg, yeah, my mind kind of kicks off.
Absolutely. You've just got this whole to-do list that's just running through in the silence.
Okay. And we're talking about meditation. We're talking about yoga. Would yoga and meditation benefit children in any way?
Now this is something. So I'm also a student currently doing my MSc in Public Health and Wellbeing.
Okay.
And that's one of the questions that I'm actually exploring, because what I found recently, there are a number of studies that suggest that actually yoga helps children with behavioral issues, anxiety, depression, and so forth, particularly school children in a school setting. I read one study which was really interesting that basically spoke about giving children yoga sessions as opposed to detention. But the outcomes were seemingly really successful. So that's a real topic of interest that I want to dig deeper into.
Okay. So we would love to have you come back, and once you're done with your master's, to discuss more about yoga and children and the benefit that it has and impact it can have on kids. And I think, handing out yoga as detention instead of detention, that sounds like a good deal right there.
Absolutely. And I don't think the average child, or it depends what age group, and this is an assumption, I don't think the average child would want to go for something like yoga because of how it's been seen over the years. Certainly maybe not now, but over the years it's been seen as, this peace out type guru type person who does yoga. Like, why do I want to sit down and do yoga? But I think there's so many different crossovers now. I mean, I read about bear yoga, if you can believe. They have bear yoga now. Bear.
Okay.
Yes,
I thought the last one I saw, the goat yoga, made me go, Jesus.
Oh yeah, there we
Jesus,
go.
why are we doing this? But I'm not here to judge.
Absolutely, we're not. But then when we take it back to the culturally specific yoga, we've got hip hop yoga, we've got all these different methods. So I do believe that there's an opportunity to engage particularly Black children into certain wellness practices such as yoga, African yoga, hip-hop yoga, that will actually have a true and a deeper, meaningful reflection of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I do think that's really interesting. I'm really looking forward to that.
Okay, so you know what? I'm looking forward to seeing younger kids doing hip-hop yoga. That would be just interesting to see. And we are talking about the wellness industry, and we keep talking around it, but let's look at it full on. Looking at the wellness industry, it feels that women of color are still not their demographic. We're not being marketed to. What changes are required to make the wellness industry more diverse?
I think, to be honest, Lillian, I just think we just need to step up and step out more. I think we need to definitely collaborate.
Okay.
And be more strategic. So when you look at the latest report by the Global Wellness Institute, they mentioned recently that it's gone from, I think, something like $3.7 trillion to $4.2 trillion.
Yes.
Global wellness industry is huge, and it's not stopping. The growth has just continued over the years. So I think for us in this space, we need to start to really truly understand the statistics. I'm not an economist, but I do know when something is definitely worth getting into, and especially at this stage for a longer term vision. So we need to be a bit more strategic, and we certainly need to develop strong local and global partnerships, most definitely.
Okay, so that's from the angle of stepping into the industry as a practitioner and getting that seat at that $1 trillion table. But how can we make sure that when the wellness brands, and I'm not naming anybody, are doing their marketing, it's inclusive of us? How can we make it more diverse so that we don't have people thinking, well, they're talking to everybody else but me, or that space, I don't feel like I would be welcome. What needs to change in that to allow for more women of color to step into those spaces?
See, this is a really good question. I think now it's almost, I think the tables are starting to turn whereby we are actually seeing more representation in adverts, particularly when you see marketing just across the board. You're seeing more Black people as opposed to Chinese, Asian, any other group. It always seems to be us that's kind of planted in as almost like a tick box.
Right.
But I think that actually that's not really that. Yeah, it's more about ticking a box as opposed to trying to level out the playing field. And as a result, I believe that you have Black wellness professionals and new brands and established brands that are actually turning their back saying, well, I don't really want to be included anymore. We're just going to make our own thing. So I don't know if there's actually going to be a need in 5 to 10 years to actually want to take a seat at the table, because I believe that we're creating our own tables, if that makes sense.
Yes. And I absolutely agree that maybe you're right. Maybe we need to start carving out our own table and creating more spaces like the Even Grace space, where it's a yoga studio for Black women. Well, it's a yoga studio run by a Black woman, so she has more inclusive and diverse teachers.
And that's not to say she's being exclusive. It just means that because she now has access to that space. And remember, I spoke earlier about the accessibility of wellness in itself. Once you've got the spaces, you can then program exactly what you want to. So whilst we haven't had the spaces and the programs haven't been for us, that's not to say when we do get the spaces, we're not going to be completely exclusive.
Of course not. No, it's never been It's never been about being exclusive. It's saying we would like to be included. And the reason we then go and create our spaces, or spaces that are more accepting of us, is because we feel uninvited or unwelcome in those other spaces.
And if you take Noire Wellness, for example, I've had queries in the past, and I've had people, honestly sort of, call me up or email me to say, well, why is it just for Black people? And I really haven't had a need to really defend our services. But what I have made clear is that our target group is actually African and Caribbean people. And here are the reasons why, because the statistics show X, Y, and Z. So there's nothing wrong with having your target group, but make sure that actually everything else is a little bit more reflective of the wider audience as well, so that you're not having people coming kind of saying, well, what about me?
Mm-hmm. No, and that's very, very important. And, and going back to Noire Wellness, and one of the things that you actually do is you host an annual Fibroids series. What inspired you to start that?
You know, I have to definitely point to the Lake Health and Wellbeing. And if you haven't heard of them, please do Google them. Lake Health and Wellbeing. They're doing some fantastic work in the Caribbean at the moment.
Right.
They were originally a charity that formed in the UK, and they did a study based on understanding the needs of women with fibroids. And it was at that moment that it opened my eyes to the condition, and I had no idea about fibroids. It didn't dawn on me, didn't occur to me. But the more I kept doing the digging and the research, I realized actually there's just up to about 80% of Black women are living with fibroids. Mm-hmm. And the more I went along this journey, the more it became common. Every time I'd speak to a sister about fibroids, it would be, oh yeah, I've got that, or oh yeah, I had that, or yeah, I had five fibroids, or it would be, yeah, I went to the doctor for years and only found out a year ago that I had fibroids. You know, my experience was awful. You know, with the GPs, they had no empathy. They didn't show the care that I needed. So as a result, I decided, okay, we need to again help wellness practitioners to step up and step out in this industry, because I had a magnificent circle of practitioners around me at the time. And I just thought, you guys have got so much valuable knowledge and information, particularly from a traditional viewpoint of African Caribbean, that there are sisters out there that need your help. So Fibroid Series was born as a result.
Okay. And it's back for another year, and for 2018, it's on the 25th of November. Tell us about the speakers for this year, aside from Louise Sam.
Wow. Okay, yeah. So you had the amazing sister Louise, it's her first year with us, so I'm really looking forward to her session. So we have Olivia Hartman, who is doing the emotional impacts of fibroids, and she is an occupational therapist and also a counselor, and she's also got her own emotional impacts of fibroids online course as well. So she's very versed in that area. One of the things that we found along the fibroids, as part of the fibroids campaign, is that often the mental health condition or the ill mental health experienced by women living with fibroids was often ignored.
Right.
So we thought we would definitely introduce that aspect. So that's Olivia. We've also got the wonderful Leah Salmon, who's a Naturally You coach, and she touches more on the raw foods. So she'll be doing a raw food workshop on the day where people can taste and learn about the foods that help to reduce the impact and even in some cases eliminate fibroids. So she'll be doing the diet aspect. Who else do we have? We've also got Sister Heket, who's also going to be doing a little bit of a practical session in womb yoga, which I'm really looking forward to.
Okay.
So again, there's just a whole host of presenters who are going to be coming down on the day. And what we've tried to do with that particular day, and most of our other hubs, is that we try and take it from a holistic viewpoint. So we look at diet, we look at exercise, we look at the educational impacts and also rejuvenation. So we try and make sure it's a holistic approach and also interactive, as opposed to maybe just a conference whereby, you're just having to take notes. We try and get our guests to actually get involved and become a little bit more practical within the day, throughout the course of the day.
All right. And details, ladies, details. How can people find out about it? How can they attend? Where is it?
Yep. So it's going to be taking place in Northwest London at the Brent Hub. If you want to purchase a ticket, you can most definitely go onto our website at noirewellness.com and just click on the What's On page there, and it will take you to the ticket link.
Okay. So, yes, I will suggest that this is something that every woman, or actually even any man who has a partner who has this condition, should attend.
And in fact, last year we actually had, I think it was about two couples who attended. So, and actually he didn't tell his wife where he was bringing her. So most definitely it's open to men and women.
All right. That's Absolutely amazing. Again, that's on the 25th of November. What time does it start?
So it starts at 11 and we'll be there until 6 o'clock in the evening. So we finish up with a panel discussion as well.
Okay, so that's great. And then speaking of Louise, we found that she's a big fan of John Holt. Now, what artists are you big on listening to?
Oh, you didn't tell me you were going to ask me this question. Wow. Where do I start? So recently, before I actually say who my artist is, recently I found a really great article about music being therapy. And I just fell in love with the article because I feel for many, many years growing up, music has always been a part of me. But I would say even as a culture, African Caribbeans, we just love our music. There's something in us that allows us to just move, with the beats and the rhythms.
Yes.
So to answer your question, my artist right now is got to be 100% Chronix, and I'm going to see him on Sunday, and I cannot wait.
Okay, all right. So, okay, Chronix it is. We had John Holt, now we have Chronix. So, yes.
Chronix all the way.
You are a busy woman. You are a mother. You're balancing your business. You have your relationship. You're also, stage managing your son's career as a young author. How do you balance everything you do? How do you balance all the different aspects of you?
If I'm honest, right now it is a challenge. It's really challenging. So in terms of the business, that's been a real a lovely learning experience over the last 2 years, and I've really enjoyed that. Fast forward to September of this year, I've now become, as you say, almost a book agent for my son, and I'm also obviously doing my master's. And right now, I wouldn't say I found a balance as yet, but I'm working on it. I'm definitely working on it. One of the things that I definitely know that has helped in the past is having a really tight schedule. So if you come into my house straight away, you will see my timetables on the fridge and on my board in front of my laptop. I've got to have a schedule that I can stick to, and a diary, actual diary away from the phone. I'm still on the paper diary. That works for me as well, 100%. But in terms of everything I'm juggling at the moment, I'm still working on that, definitely.
You know what? I love the honesty. I love the honesty because
I have to be.
we get into some spaces where we're like, oh no, everything is absolutely fine, and I can totally balance it, and I'm so fantastic, and I am best mother awards, and no. I love the honesty. We need more honest conversations.
No, there ain't nothing balancing around here. I was up till 1 o'clock last night trying to do some studying, and maybe we can have the conversation again, in about 4 months, and I might have a different answer. But right now, I'll take some tips from you. Yeah. Definitely.
Oh my Lord. Don't take tips from me, because there's some days I go to bed at 3 o'clock. Don't take tips from me.
But just to put it into context, so my son did I'm sure you've seen the BBC interview.
Yes.
About this book, and being that he's 13 years old, the last time I checked, it had 9.1 thousand views or something.
Nice.
And with
that was some
views,
serious proud mommy moments.
Absolutely, very proud. Don't get me wrong, absolutely 100%. But with those views comes more work, comes more emails, comes more, So it's amazing. But again, I'm learning. I'm on a learning journey, so I definitely won't sit here and say, I've got it all in check, because I'm going through it.
So we're gonna segue very quickly into your sons, and then we'll segue back. How did he at 13 decide he wants a book, and what was that process?
So I would say about 3 years ago, he came to me once he was in primary school, and he said, "Mommy, I want to write a book." I was like, okay, exactly. I was like, okay. So, where are we going to start? And so we sat, we talked. And then at the time, I was taking him to a lot of cultural events, both him and my daughter. Wherever we would go, we'd go to Black History event, whatever it might be. As long as it was, a community event, I would take them along.
Okay.
And at those events, more often than not, they would be booksellers. So very soon, I started to introduce him to authors who I knew were going to be at events, taking pictures. And I think from that, he then started to see that it could, it could actually happen. He could do exactly what all of these authors were doing.
Okay.
So he started to do some book reviews for Obi and Titi. And
Nice.
yeah, from there, he simply just asked them. He said, I want to write a book. And would you help me? And they were like, yeah. And 2 years later, bang, he's written a book. Literally.
Nice. And how do you, any tips on how to manage a teenager who's also an author for them to navigate that journey with ease?
Do you know, again, so we're still very much learning. And the one thing I've said to my son is the moment it becomes, a bit boring and mundane and too much, you need to tell me that, hey, mum, it's not fun anymore. And that's it. We'll stop. But innately, my son loves to write. And I think it's part of his well-being and his wellness that he likes to write. And so it's about just going with their flow. So I haven't really directed my son. I followed his direction in that sense, and just opened the door for him, and he's been able to walk through that door.
And that's absolutely amazing. And like I said, that must be some serious proud mommy moments.
Definitely.
Okay, looking at everything you've accomplished, looking at Noire Wellness, and, from the outside, people think, oh my God, Candice has everything. She's doing so great. How do you deal with your moments of doubts?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think I always go to my why, and my whole reason for doing Noire Wellness is I want to do it for my children. I want to do it for your children and their children. I want to be able to be here in another 10 years and saying to you, we've got this branch in this part of the world and this part of the world. I want to be able to have that vision and do it for generational wealth and health, if you like.
Okay. And that's a powerful why. That is an absolutely powerful why. It's legacy. You want to create something that is legacy building.
We have to. We have to.
And going further into Noire Wellness, one of the things that you do, you provide consultancy services to others in the wellness industry under the banner of collaboration consultancy. What is collaboration consultancy?
So in terms of the work that I've done in the past, my journey, as I said, started off as, fitness instructing. Then I moved on to community sports development. And then I managed a regional inclusive fitness project. And throughout that time, I felt that I was just giving advice to people who I knew was maybe just starting up their, sports companies or fitness or personal training, whatever it might be. And again, I found that actually they were getting results. So through collaborations and through drawing on my networks over the course of the 20 years, I'm able to actually pull people together to help particular brands to propel forward, whether it be in funding, whether it be in project management or whatever it is that they may need a little bit of guidance and support on. I'm able to literally pull in on my network and make that happen.
Okay. All right. I like this. It's an idea of a circular economy. I like this idea, and I like what you're putting out with Noire Wellness.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, okay. Before the show, I looked over your partner's FB page, BOYT, and for those who don't know, that's Bespoke on Your Table, and his food looks absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. It took all my reserves not to lick my screen. So, so here's my question. Now, who is a better home cook between
Ooh!
Now,
do I have to answer?
Well, I mean, you can send us a text.
Who's a better cook? Who's a better home cook?
Yes.
I would say he learned everything from me.
Okay.
So I would say I'm the better cook.
Okay. All right. So when I do interview him and ask him, I might get a different answer.
You'll get a very modest answer. No, absolutely. So Bespoke on Your Table, Eric Tito, amazing chef. He's an amazing chef. And what I love about the dishes that he produces is that it's that fine dining, it's that top high end level of presentation. The taste is gorgeous. I could never, ever, ever compete with his cooking. As much as I'd love to, I couldn't.
Candice, I looked at one of the dishes. It was the one with the quail breast. I'm like, wait, I didn't know quail had enough to make a breast. I was like, there's quail breast on there and quail eggs and was it bacon something chicken skin crumble? I'm like, my brain actually started to ask me questions. I'm like, I don't know how we make chicken skin crumble. Don't ask me. I need to ask him.
And the thing is, that's what I love about his creations, and which is why I love working with him with some of our Noire wellness hubs. So, for example, whenever we have a hub or we put on even general hubs, he'll come in and he'll create post-workout smoothies or let's say, for example, for the Fibroids hub, he'll come and he'll do dishes that relate to fibroids or work with foods that will help to reduce and eliminate fibroids. And his creativity and ability to always produce dishes that have an Afro-fusion underline, it just amazes me every single time. Fantastic.
As somebody who has tasted some of his food, I have to agree. It's absolutely delicious and gorgeous to look at. It is so yummy. It's just not right. It's absolutely close to being sinful because it's that good. It's like, I'm just going to, try and look like an adult and eat only one and then look around the room and go, yeah, that was a bad idea because now I'm going to have to get another. So we're talking about food and we're talking about good food. How important is good eating to self-care regime?
Wow. I think, you know what, eat badly and you'll see. And I, again, for me, I would say it was 2014 when I had my first juice fast. And that was courtesy of another amazing wellness practitioner, Michelle Patrick, who has a whole host of experience and knowledge in the industry. And that juice fast really taught me how important eating right and eating well is, because through fasting and through nourishing my body with only good stuff, my thought processes were different, all of my senses were different, my level of hearing, everything was completely different. It's almost like an outer body experience for me.
Wow.
So I would say healthy eating, I would say 99.9% of diseases and health issues that we have all relate to food. I would go as far as to say that, most definitely.
Okay. All right. So we've come to that point in the show when we talk about our So Loud moment of the week. Candice, what's your So Loud moment of the week?
Oh, gosh. Wow, you're hitting me with it. Right. We are on Wednesday. Well, I would have to say it was Saturday. I'm sorry, it was last. I would have to say my So Loud moment of the week has got to be Saturday when I met with yourself and, 9 other amazing wellness professionals, and we shared moments of highs, lows, strategic thinking, planning, laughter, tears even. That's got to be my highlight, definitely.
You know what? I have to say I agree. It's, oh my God, I am so honored to be in that space of just you fabulous woman. So it deserves a huge round of applause, which is going to get now. Oh, I treasure it, every time we meet up because these women you all are just amazing. So yeah, I agree. That's a good So Loud moment of the week.
Definitely.
Okay, so looking at your journey so far, what advice would you give your 18-year-old self?
Ooh, I would say stop relaxing your hair.
Okay.
And eat properly and don't stop moving, as in don't stop exercising and dancing, doing your dance fitness.
Okay. All right. These are interesting advice. So as a dance fitness instructor, because this is also part of what you do, if you have someone coming back to you saying, I've been out of fitness for a while, I have a bum knee, I have this, I have that, what fitness advice would you give them, or what activity would you recommend for them to do?
I would say you can adapt. So this is mainly from my experience in managing the Inclusive Fitness Project. And just to kind of give it a bit of context, I was mentoring disabled people to become fitness instructors. And once they were fitness instructors, I'd have to find an industry work placement for them. And on that journey, I found that there is no, to be careful how I word this, but there is truly no barrier to what you can do as long as your mind is open to it. So it would depend on the client and how far they're willing to push themselves, but there's always adaptations that can be made, I would say, most certainly. Yeah.
Okay. What drives your creativity?
I think it's just within me. I think my mind is filled with so many ideas, which helps me with my consultancy work. I can almost always find a solution when people are looking for, support and guidance with their wellness projects. What drives my creativity? I just think it's just innate. I've got ideas for days.
Okay. So your creativity is boundless because I've met you and your mind is incredible. How do you bounce back from setbacks?
Music, I would say. Music always helps me out, of a hole. But I would say I've just got to persevere, and I would say my children are my driving force. It would be easy for me not to pursue or to give up. But when I look at, for example, what my son's achieved, and when I look at my daughter, who is just, when you get the opportunity to meet her, you will realize she is always bouncing, always happy, never ever, if she's told off, at 8 o'clock, by 9 o'clock, she's bouncing like she was never even told off. So I think their resilience and perseverance is definitely one of my driving forces.
Okay. So one of the things that we're passionate about and we keep talking about is books and reading and learning. And so I always find out from my guests, what are they currently reading, or what was the last book they read? So, Candice?
The book I'm currently reading is Foundations for Health Promotions by Jenny Nader and Jane Wills. So that's part of my master's. So yeah, that would be the book I'm reading at the moment.
Okay. And that's for your master's. What about for pleasure? What's the last book you read for pleasure?
It would be Shifted Code. Yeah. So it would be, that is actually the last book I read for pleasure.
Oh, that's lovely. Mummy's reading his book. That's the way it should be. At least, has he given you your own signed copy, or are you still waiting?
Absolutely. No, I had a signed copy. I also said I promised not to read the whole thing until it was finished.
Oh, so that's good.
He asked me for, my opinion sort of throughout his journey on a few chapters here and there, but I said I promised I wouldn't read it until the very end.
Okay. Now, what advice would you offer women who are feeling the signs of burnout?
Stop and really take check. You really just literally just have to stop for your own health's sake, and for your family's health's sake. But it's so important to, just stop. That's the first thing that comes to mind, is just to absolutely stop.
Okay. So what's next for you and Noire Wellness?
Wow. Okay. So what's next for me right now is my master's and getting on top of my essays. But in terms of Noire Wellness, apart from the hub, next year we're hoping to focus a little bit more on our network. So one of the other things we do is we're recruiting wellness practitioners. So whether it's in the fitness domain, rejuvenation, nutrition, or even additional consultants. But what we want to do is get to a point where people can visit the website and they want to know if they've got a raw food nutritionist in the local area, and they can click on it, comes, a list of, raw food nutritionists or whatever it is they might be looking for. So we're going to be recruiting and really just doing a call out for more practitioners to join the network next year.
Okay, and in that vein, how can people connect with you and Noire Wellness?
Wow, just head on to our website at noirewellness.com or find us on Twitter, again, Noire Wellness. If you just Google at Noire Wellness, you should find us all across all the different social medias.
You know what, Candice? I cannot thank you enough for being on the show. And, I was going to say, the last question was going to be that, but no, this is going to be my last question. Skydiving? Really? Skydiving? Woman, skydiving.
Something? Honestly, no, listen, honestly, you must, do you know what? I think that's what we're going to do as a collective. Our collective must do a skydive to raise charity for a particular black health charity. I'm going to get you guys to do it. It's the
Candice,
most peaceful.
I'm so glad that this is not video, because the side eye you'll be getting right now is going to be serious. It's like basically Viola Davis levels of side eye. I'm going to do what? Why you?
Honestly,
why?
It's the most peaceful thing you will ever do. Once you pull that parachute and you are gliding and steering that whole massive parachute above your head, you're steering around the clouds. You trust me, you'll be thanking me after. We gotta do it. We're gonna do it together. Sisterhood. Come on.
Girl, I've watched enough when things go wrong, and I've seen people, they're like, yeah, I'm a skydiver, and we got tangled, and now I have only 2 toes.
It ain't gonna happen.
I don't want to end up as a mocha puddle. No.
Just think about all of the funds you'll be raising for, that one charity that you've always admired. Just think about that on the way down, and that will help you out.
I'm thinking, and also remember, charity begins at home. Fine, then. Fine. Okay.
It's amazing,
okay.
Honestly.
So I've actually agreed, live on air, I would do skydiving for a charity.
Excellent. I can't wait.
If I come home without my kneecaps, it's on you. I'm just going to put this out there. I come home without kneecaps, it's on you.
It won't happen. Brilliant. So we just got to find a charity to do it for, and let's raise some money for them. I love it. Definitely.
People, you've heard this, so skydiving is in my future. Thank you, Candice. Oh, I can't thank you enough for coming on and sharing about Noire Wellness. I can't thank you enough for taking the time to tell me about your journey and the wellness industry. I'm so grateful for you being on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me. It has been such a pleasure. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Folks, it's a wrap. It's that time. I have been speaking with the CEO and founder of Noire Wellness. This woman is a multifaceted woman who has more than 20 years in the industry. She is at the forefront of that wellness industry and championing for more inclusion, more diversity, and also for practitioners in the wellness industry of African origin to actually be able to stand and take part more of that $4.2 trillion industry. I think this has just been an excellent conversation that we've had this evening. So you know what to do. If you've enjoyed the show, run over to iTunes, drop us a 5-star review. You know our website, shineoutloud.tv. Go on there, leave us a message. And if you want to be on the show, leave us a message on our website as well, and we will get back to you. It's been an absolute pleasure. And Candice, it's just been fun, and I've somehow signed up to skydiving. So yeah, thank you. So we are done for this evening. So You know where to find us. Thank you and good night.
You've been listening to The Shine Out Loud Show. If you want to connect with us or let us know what you thought of today's show, be sure to follow us on Twitter at Shine Out Show.